Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, and we have a slightly unusual replay for you today with a frankly bizarre ending. Unusual because, well, it's an Object 263, and this has got to be the least played tank destroyer, certainly of the tier 10 tank destroyers, in World of Tanks. You almost never see these things. And I don't know why, because it's a very, very good tank destroyer. The Object 263 is being driven for us today by Purple Fresh in this tier 10 encounter battle on Prokhorovka. So why is the Object 263 so unpopular? And I don't really think it's a case of the Object 263 itself being an unpopular machine. I think it's more a case of having to drive so many unpopular vehicles in order to get to this thing. This is the second Soviet tank destroyer line. There are no ISU-152s in this line. There are no Object 704s. To get to the 263 you have to go through machines like the SU-101 and the SU-100M1. And while they're decent machines in their own right, they're a little bit more difficult to use than the nice, safe, comfortable ISU-152, SU-152 and Object 704 with their really, really big guns. The tank destroyers leading up to the Object 263 here tend to be small, fast, mobile and have medium tank guns, and hence not quite as popular as the original Soviet tank destroyer line. But we'll go on to what it is that actually makes the 263 a good machine in a moment. Right now, Purple Fresh can't believe how many tanks on this team are rushing the middle, and that is a lot of tanks. Their two light tanks have gone all the way out onto the western flank. Most of the heavies are heading for the hill on the eastern flank with some medium support, but pretty much the majority of the team are all crowding the middle of the map up here. This is probably another one of the reasons why the 263 isn't quite as popular. It doesn't have that really, really big gun that you get on the other Soviet tank destroyers. It is a good gun though. The damage per minute on this gun is actually superior to the Object 268, the other Soviet tier 10 tank destroyer. It's a 130mm gun, and it doesn't have that 750 alpha damage that you get on the other tier 10 tank destroyers, but what it does have is a blistering rate of fire, very high penetration, decent damage, and very good accuracy. It's very mobile, with a 55km/h top speed. It rotates at 32 degrees per second, and the frontal armour on this thing is very, very impressive. It's not without its weaknesses, however, but because you see so few of these Object 263s on the battleground, nobody really knows where to shoot them. Purple Fresh has just spotted a Waffenträger, who's not shooting at him, which is always nice, scores a hit. T62A with him, follows it up. We're going to be seeing a lot of this T62A player. He was actually pretty good, right up until the point where he wasn't. Spoiler alert, but more on that later. One of the weaknesses, of which there are actually quite a few on the 263, is that very, very limited gun arc you can see there. That gun can only actually pivot 14 degrees, 7 degrees to either side. It's a little bit like the French tank destroyers in that respect. And of course you'll also notice that it's an open-topped machine. Artillery scores a hit on this thing, it's really going to mess you up. You can also see, looking inside the fighting compartment there, as he's trying to get a shot at that guy on the top of the hill, there. The sides of this machine are basically made out of ammo racks. You get hit in the side in this thing, well, first of all your side armour is pretty bad, and secondly you're almost always going to take ammo rack damage. But from the front, as you can see, and as you're going to see multiple times throughout the course of this battle, this machine is very, very hard to kill, providing you can keep it at medium to long range. The 263 does not like getting up close and personal. It's not the kind of machine you want to be face-hugging other enemy tanks in, unlike machines like, for example, the T30. And that's because of, well, one of its best features, its low profile, and there goes the frontal armour again. Because it's such a low profile machine, if you end up going face to face with an enemy tank, they can often just shoot straight down into your fighting compartment. Oh, they're being flanked. Oh, and speaking of flanks, very, very bad news over on the western side of the map. The two light tanks that went over there have both died, and we're going to see more of the enemy light tanks in a moment, but for now he's trying to get another shot off out this Waffenträger. There we go, good hit, slightly low damage roll, but hey, damage is damage. So how do you deal with an Object 263 from the front? Well, his gun mantlet is actually a weak spot. It's not much of a weak spot, it is 250mm thick, and it is slightly sloped. But if you have a very high penetration gun, shoot this thing in the gun mantlet. If you don't have a very high penetration gun, and you have no option but to shoot at this thing from the front, high explosive into the gun mantlet can get results. There is no armour behind the gun mantlet on the Object 263. Oh, and here comes the light tank rush down the flank. He aims ahead of the AMX 1390 right as he gets his tracks blown off, instantly repairs, and motors on out of there. That AMX 1390 is never going to know how lucky he is. He got his tracks blown off at that moment. Purple Fresh would have killed him. And they managed to break through. 1390 does not have a lot of health, but all he has to do is break contact. There he goes. Now nobody knows where the hell he is. They've just lost the ISU-152. Mark 7 Centurion keeps cresting over the ridge and taking advantage of everybody turning their turrets to try to get those two light tanks. Now they've both disappeared, and that's not good. Oh, hang on. There's the FV-4202. He's just fired. Good damage. Very, very nice. And now he's starting to take fire, and it's the light tanks. One high into the side armour, missed the ammo rack. One into the tracks, low, missed the ammo rack. Purple Fresh got real lucky there. But the threat has been dealt with. Both of the light tanks have been dealt with by the mediums that went back from the middle. And oh, there's the Centurion. Can't let the Centurion shoot him in the side. He's aiming, he's aiming. Nah, not from the front. It's not going to happen. T-62A moved up to intercept as the ISU-152 pops out and takes a shot, and he can't penetrate his frontal armour either. Centurion is bugging out. The ISU is doomed. He's under fire from multiple tanks, and there we go, got him. Right, what's that Centurion doing? Yep, he's definitely bugging out. Okay. Posed a significant threat to Purple Fresh's flank there, but if he's going to bug out back to the middle with the T-62A, hopefully keeping him spotted, that means Purple Fresh can turn around and start putting the gun to work at these guys on the ridge. -7, yep, good hit. And that's what the Object 263 does best. Medium to long range, constant withering barrage of fire. Of course, you have to actually have tanks spotted. Oh, Jagdtiger. Wow, how the hell did the Jagdtiger get there without being seen? There's the Waffenträger. And he's killed him, which is always nice, but he's spotted again. And bouncing shots from the front like an absolute boss. That's just what this thing does. And then as quickly as that, they lose another 2 tanks, and the scores are even again. Enemy T-110E4 on the hill is taking a battering though, he's trying to pull back, and this is a guaranteed kill, except it bounces, because those are the rules, aren't they? Whenever you've got a guaranteed killing shot on a exposed, vulnerable enemy tank, your next shot always misses, bounces, or goes into his tracks. Those are the rules. I don't make them, I just work here. Meanwhile, they're being capped, so the T-62A, he rushes forward into the cap circle to prevent the Jagdtiger, who is in the cap circle, but nobody can see him, from just winning by default. And the biggest threat here is those tier 10s on that hill over there, and the only thing holding them from sweeping down off the hill and coming around the flank is a lone T-54, who only has 700 health remaining, so it's important that these guys support him. And then, whoa, well, I was wondering where the Centurion had gotten to. The Centurion makes a couple of bizarre decisions here. First of all, he comes over the hill with his gun pointing in the wrong direction, so first he has to swing the turret around and then spend time aiming, and that allows the M46 and Purple Fresh to both land good solid hits on him. The second bizarre decision was that he didn't fire his gun. He could have one-shotted the M46, but instead he's just lost all of his health and he's been forced to pull back as the M46 sweeps around. And it's a brave move from the M46. Oh, the Centurion fired, missed the M46 and actually hit the wreck of the Object 140 in front of him. Purple Fresh takes the shot. It was rushed, it wasn't fully aimed, it missed, but the Centurion was about to get his turret back on the other side of the ridge, so he didn't really lose anything by taking the shot. That's the thing with the Object 263. Missing a shot doesn't hurt as much as it does in other tier 10 tank destroyers, because you don't have to sit through that lengthy reload cycle the way that you do on the machines with the 750 alpha damage. You can afford to take riskier shots with this thing and not be punished for it. Speaking of risky, this Centurion does like to live dangerously. Oh, Purple Fresh missed, but the M46 didn't. Okay. Threat to the flank completely neutralised. There are now 4 enemy tanks remaining, and we're pretty sure they're all up on top of that hill. We know the Jagdtiger's still sitting in the cap circle, undetected. We can tell just by looking at the cap counter. Then we lose the T-54, and once again, you're just not allowed to kill anything when you've got a perfect fully aimed shot right at the side of an immobile machine. Firing at the IS-7 gave his position away. He's detected. He takes a hit straight into the gun mantlet. Doesn't penetrate. Probably the IS-7. Takes another hit straight into the gun mantlet. Does penetrate. Likely to be that undetected Waffenträger Panzer IV over there somewhere. It's at this point where the Pershing finally starts moving, and let's not judge him too critically. He is at the end of the day just a tier 8 medium tank, and he's pretty much spent this entire game sitting on the railway crossing up at the northern end of the map, given long range support fire. But now, recognising that there's nothing stopping that IS-7 and the IS-8 and potentially also the Waffenträger Panzer IV from coming down over the hill and moving into the cap on the T-62A, he leaves his position, gets down into the riverbed and starts moving up to take over the spot that was occupied by the T-54. And once again, Purple Fresh is just not allowed to kill. That one-shot kill IS-7. And he's had enough of this. While the Pershing's making his move, Purple Fresh is also getting his ass into gear. Oh, there's the Jagdtiger. He's been there the entire game. It's amazing how... It's very hard to hide a machine as big as the Jagdtiger. It does not have the world's greatest camo rating, but that Jagdtiger player has been making some masterful use of concealment. And he's been racking the kills up as well, but now Purple Fresh is in a position to get around behind him. The Pershing has also just made it to the foot of the hill. There's a 110 coming along behind Super Fresh, also only a tier 8 heavy tank, trying to get around to fire from the side and rear of those enemy tanks up on the hill, where his gun's going to do the most damage. Super Fresh crests the ridge, and there's the Waffenträger Panzer IV. He has of course been spotted, scores a hit, pulls back. There's the IS-8. And I think it's the Waffenträger. Misses the IS-8. He's jockeying for a second shot at the Waffenträger, who is going to be aiming at him, and as he's jockeying to take the shot, the Waffenträger finishes him off. Some good shooting from the Waffenträger there. And that of course brings Purple Fresh's adventure to a premature conclusion. But the drama is not over yet. The Pershing has actually taken the fight to the IS-8. The rest of the team are jockeying for positions to get some supporting fire in and keep that Pershing alive as long as possible, because he's the only thing stopping these guys from coming down off the hill. And the IS-8 knows it too, but every time he crests that ridge, the M46 and the T-62A are in a perfect position to put some shots into his flank. And that Pershing is counting on his teammates to keep him in this match. And they need to keep him in this match, because without him there... Oh, that was bloody close. The IS-8 could have ended him right there, but they both missed or bounced off each other. Who's going to reload first? I suspect it's going to be the Pershing. The 110 there playing a very, very dangerous pop-up, now you see me, now you don't gun duel with a Waffenträger Panzer IV, the M46, who's been on 31 health for most of this game. Desperately trying to get some support fire in there as well. Now, we don't actually see it happen, but just as the T-62A is making his move on this Jagdtiger, the Waffenträger Panzer IV and the 110 kill each other. So, but now, surely it's all over for the Jagdtiger. Two medium tanks. He wants to kill the Patton first. The Patton pops up, scores a hit. The Jagdtiger returns fire and kills him. But while he's reloading, you might have an injured driver, but you're still in the T-62A. Get around him. He doesn't have a turret. What are you waiting for? Why is the T-62A letting the Jagdtiger reload? Well, okay, even if he reloads, you still have almost all of your health. It's going to take him 3 shots to kill you. If you're any good, you're only going to let him take 1 shot. You'll get around him. Why is the T-62A sitting there? Why is he not stomping that Jagdtiger's ass? Oh, hang on a minute. What does that say in the middle of the screen? Oh my god, he's out of ammunition. How can this happen? Well, that's going to make it tricky to win. How much damage did this guy do in order to run out of ammunition at this... I mean, it couldn't have happened at a worst possible moment. But it would explain why he did nothing but sit in the cap circle for the last 5 minutes, contesting the cap against this Jagdtiger. What's he going to do? Ram him? Yeah, no, that won't work. He's in a medium tank, and that's a 75-ton tank destroyer. And apart from anything else, he couldn't get going fast enough to be able to do any kind of ramming damage. His driver's dead. So, are these two just going to sit here? Is that T-62A going to spend the next couple of minutes just driving backwards and forwards? And is the Jagdtiger going to sit there waiting for him to stop driving backwards and forwards and come out? Yes. Yes, they are. No, really, I'm not joking. This is what they do for the next minute and a half. There is a plot twist coming, but it's not during the battle. No, we are going to get to the battle results screens to see exactly what went wrong. This is it. Sorry. No, there's no last minute. Oh, hang on, I did actually have some ammunition stored under the seat. Oh, I forgot about it. Here we go, we'll load it and kill this Jagdtiger. Nope, nope, this is it. This is all they do for the next minute and a half. I can only imagine what the Jagdtiger's team is saying to him in their team chat, but this is it, sorry. But anyway, yeah. Let's get to the plot twist then, shall we? And for that, we're going to have to take a look at the post-battle results screens. And here it is. First of all, Purple Fresh. Terrible result. A draw is a defeat for everybody. That's a third-class mastery badge. With a high caliber, he actually did over 6,000 damage during the course of this match, and it just wasn't enough. So there's Purple Fresh with 6,000 damage done, and the enemy Waffenträger Panzer IV as well with over 5,000. In fact, the real heroes of this match were not really the tier 10s, it was the tier 8s and the 9s. In fact, most of the tier 10s in this match had a pretty miserable game, which is what makes it all the more frustrating when the tier 8s and 9s step up, play their hearts out, and everybody loses anyway. The M46 Patton did nearly 3,000 damage, got 3 kills and did most of that on 31 health. The M26 Pershing stepping up to the position like a superstar when the hill needed defending and holding back the IS-7 and the IS-8 and killing the IS-8. And they lose anyway. But what about the T-62A? How did he run out of ammunition? He didn't do that much damage. Did he just miss nearly every shot he fired or something? No, he didn't. He's not actually a bad player. In fact, most of the shots that he fired hit and did damage. The problem is that he went into battle with 13 rounds of ammunition loaded into his tank. Yes, that is apparently still a thing. No, I don't understand it either, because World of Tanks has had that reload and repair and resupply automatically after battle button for as long as I can remember playing. And yet, apparently it's still a thing. It's... all I can... no, sorry, I've got nothing. I cannot explain how you could go into battle in a T-62A with only 13 rounds of ammunition. I do understand that sometimes when you research a new turret on a tank, for example, or if you unlock and research a new gun, and you go and fit the new gun and it uses a different caliber of ammunition, then you have to load the ammunition manually into the gun. That may still be the case. I don't know, it's been a while since I did it, but how does that work on a T-62A? It's a tier 10 medium tank. There are no upgrades on the T-62A, so he can only have... No, I got nothing. I can't explain it, but that is the reason why, after doing over 6,000 damage, Purple Fresh had to eat a draw in that match on Prokhorovka. The T-62A quite literally brought a knife to a gunfight. And that's it for today, folks. I hope you've been entertained and amused by today's video. And as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.